Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot. If you've watched my videos before and you know me, then you know my favorite director of all time is Tim Burton. I love the way his mind works. I love his still motion. I love everything that he does. Here is the book that he wrote, the only one that I know of. If you know more, then by all means let me know in the comments because I'd love to have them. But this is The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories. And it's just little short stories and poems that he's written over the years with his art. This is definitely a collector's item. I'd love to get it autographed sometime if I ever got the opportunity. But I think I got it on Amazon a couple years ago. They might still have it available. But there it says also by Tim Burton. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas. We all know that. That's one of the best movies of all time. But everything that Tim Burton does is incredible, and that's what this is. Like, I'll go ahead and read you and show you one or two few of the stories in here before we get to the reading that I'm going to do inspired by Tim Burton as well. It's a stick boy and match girl in love. Stick boy liked match girl. He liked her a lot. He liked her cute figure. He thought she was hot. But could a flame even burn for a match and a stick? It did, quite literally. He burned up pretty quick. So you've got like the awesome little illustrations there and how short and sweet and definitely weird. A little poem right there. And you go on to the next one, like Robot Boy. I'm not going to read you all of them, no, because that would take far too long. But like, you've got the different ones here, and it's just so much fun. And there's his like trademark big eyes kind of thing. And you've got the staring girl right there. You get the idea. Like, it's just silly, short little stories. Plus that one about Oyster Boy, and it's definitely a doozy. Like, these are they're almost funny and just downright strange. And that's the beauty of Tim Burton and the way that this man's mind works. It's fantastic. So that is The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories. And I read you one of the stories in there. See the back right there. Really, really awesome book. I love it. You know, I've read it cover to cover many times. But today we're not doing, we're not reading that book. We are reading with the Beetlejuice Tarot and Guidebook. So we've got this deck, and it's Inside Editions, and it's by far, my personal opinion, the best deck that Inside Editions has ever put out. I put out a video a few years ago that was me honestly complaining about Inside Editions. Like, take the Star Trek Next Generation Tarot. That thing is by far the most disappointing deck that I have ever come across. Like, yeah, the Major Arcana is cool. It's got the different characters and everything from it. But the Minor Arcana, just, no. It's got the weapons, it's got the ships, and those, like the Minor Arcana of the suit of, I don't even know what the suit is, but it's like just 10 starships for the 10 of whatever it is. It's like the most confusing deck ever. And just, they dropped the ball on it. But that's not the deck we're using. No, like I said, we are using the Beetlejuice Tarot deck and Guidebook. And when you say Beetlejuice, say it 3 times, because he might show up. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. That movie came out when I was about 3. And I think I watched it when I was 3, so maybe that's the reason I'm so just infatuated, in love, obsessed with Tim Burton work. And, if Tim Burton ever decided to make his artwork into a tarot deck, can you imagine just how many people would jump on that? Myself included. Like, that would be the ultimate, wouldn't it? It'd be right up there with Deviant Moon Tarot, I believe. But, we're going to choose this deck. We're going to work with this deck. The illustrations on it are beautiful. Just check out the backs. They're really awesome, too. And as I begin, I will thank the deck. I will thank our guides, my guides, for sharing their voice with us to give us the insight, inspiration, empowerment, or caution that we need to make the best of our lives ahead of us. Now, as always, well, not as always, I've done other spreads too, but what I like to do on here and what I like to do face to face is a present future advice spread, because you have that present situation. It's kind of like a sitting down, like focusing on what's going on in the here and now. Then the future is not written. It's always up to chance and change. The cards can give us an idea of what can occur, but it's up to us to make that happen or avoid it, because the future is not written. And of course, the advice is how to achieve that future, what to do moving forward, just guidance from the powers that be to give us the answers and advice that we need to make the best of our lives. So those are the 3 questions that we will ask the cards. The cards have been shuffled, they've been split, and they've been put all back together. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to choose the present, the right here, right now. And this is the guy that's really calling to me. He's kind of like secretive right there. and we'll pull it out. There it is, and it's the King of Wands. And we've got that, what is that, a cockroach? Yeah, it's like just fun, whimsical, downright weird and creepy, and that's everything that I love in life, just embrace the weird, embrace the macabre, enjoy. That's what I enjoy, to each their own, but definitely Beetlejuice here, Tim Burton, my favorite. That's the thing that I'm passionate about. That's the thing that, leads me forward. Cosmic Crow, you think of that. It's dark, but then you get a reading from me. It's the most inspiring thing that you'll ever hear. It's the most, I make it fun. I don't know how best else to explain it. So the King of Wands kind of goes with that kind of thought, finding that passion, letting that passion lead you. And when you do, you can be like this dude right here, embracing that power and passion, and inspiring others in the process. Like, he's just sitting there on his chair. We don't see the other characters around him, but he knows his worth. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He's been around the world. He's been in people's houses, likely, because, cockroach, ew, and different things. But that's what he's passionate about. So when we find that passion and we're willing to let that passion, that inner fire lead us, not only can we find success with it, but we can inspire others to go after it too. This is the king that has the wisdom, the king that has the knowledge, the king that has the stories to tell others that can inspire them to follow their own passions as well. The astrological correspondence to the King of Wands is Leo. Leo is the showman of the zodiac. Think Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, Joe Elliott of Def Leppard. These men have been following their passions for decades. They started back in the 70s, I believe. Rolling Stones, my favorite song from the Rolling Stones is Paint It Black, and that song I think was released in 1967. So we're looking at like 50 years. They've been inspiring the world and showing their passions and like inspiring others to follow theirs. So the King of Wands appearing in the here and now suggests that we have found our passions. We've let those passions lead. If we haven't, then focus on that. Let that passion lead you. Be inspired by the people around us, the ones that have found their passion to follow theirs, because that can help us change and transform our lives for the better, to make them ones that we're passionate about. Now, members of the court, they don't connect. You don't see any number here, but the numbers are very much there to find. If you see the court cards as the next step after the 10, the numbers are easily found. So, the King of Wands is that final step. The page would be 11 because it's the first step. The knight is 12. The queen is 13, and the king would be 14, which is temperance of the major arcana. So taking that knowledge and wisdom of the past, applying it to the present, can help us change and transform our lives. So listening to that passion, that king, listening to that passion and letting it lead in our lives can help us change and transform our lives for the better. So in the here and now, embrace that passion. Let that passion lead and see where it can lead you. If you haven't found that passion yet, really take that time to be inspired by the ones that have, because it can help you find that passion within as well. Now we're going to move to the future now. The future, as I said, is not written. It's always up to chance and change. I can give you an idea of what might occur, but again, it's you. It's you that has to make that happen. And I love it. I love when the card that comes up for the future is not, really specific about the future. It says your future is yours to create. Be a fool for it. You found that passion. You let that passion lead, and that opens you up to brand new opportunities in the future. The beginning of the major arcana, the 0 right there, there's nothing to it yet. They're standing there. The Maitlands are standing there in the illustration. They're beginning to think, should they bring that guy out? Should they bring Beetlejuice out? Should they have him help him, or have him help them? Because the secretary, remember in the Beetlejuice movie, that secretary said, you don't want to mess with them. But they need help. They need to get those people out of their houses. So are they going to be foolish enough to let that guy out? Well, if you've watched the movie, you know the answer to that. I mean, they made a tarot deck about it. Of course, they wouldn't have done that if they hadn't gotten him out. But that energy there, that full, you don't have the answers yet. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't expect that their future was going to get them on the other side. But they went for it. They went for that foolish idea, and it helped in the end. So the energy of the Fool, that's the beginning of the major arcana. That's the initial leap. And following that King of Wands, you found that passion. Now, where can that passion lead you when you're fool enough to go after it? I keep saying foolish, but that idea might not be foolish. That idea, if you really embrace it, if you're really passionate about it, then it can take you far. The astrological correspondence to Uranus is just that. I say Uranus, not Uranus, because there's a reason for that. We all have one. And some people, think ours stink more than someone else's. But it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. When you believe in your idea, when you're a fool for it, when you're passionate about that idea, then don't be afraid to take that initial leap. You don't have all the answers yet, but the next step is embracing that magic. The magician, the first step, labeled 1 of the major arcana. Before you get to the high priestess, you fake it till you make it, and the more you work on it, the more you take action on it, the more you let that fire lead for what you're a fool for, the more you're going to begin trusting yourself to see where it can lead you. So the fool appearing in the future position doesn't tell you what the future is going to be. It tells you that beginning that awaits you, that future that awaits you, is yours to take, yours to begin, and yours to do something with. The fool always reminds me of the medieval times. Like the kingdom with the court people and all that. The king sitting there, the queen sitting there, all the members of the court, they're all talking about their victories, maybe even their losses, and who they're going to take over next, what they're going to do next. And there in the background is a jester. And that jester is who I relate to the fool. He's got his balls, he's got whatever he's juggling, he's just standing back there. And as everybody else is just being entertained by this guy or girl, I don't know, there were female jesters back then, right? But this character, this person, is back there doing all of that, and nobody's paying him any attention except, entertainment. His ears are very much working, though, and he's listening to everything the members of the court are saying. So really, you think of the fool, you think of something silly, someone silly. You think of someone that might not know that much. But then again, the fool, the one that's not afraid to take that leap to begin something new, could be the smartest one in the room. So listening to that passion, letting it lead, being inspired by the ones who have let their passions lead in the past, can help us in the future to take our ideas and run with them and be a fool for the lives that we live. Okay, we're going to move to the advice position now. It's this one. This is the one that's calling to me. And it's the Chariots. What an interesting reading. What an empowering reading, too. Because you have this passion leading you forward, getting behind the wheel, driving yourself where you want to be. 7, that is the number of overcoming obstacles that stand in your way of success. The only way you're going to find success and lead at your passion, like those inspirational people in the world, like Mick Jagger, Joe Elliott, Chad Kruger of Nickelback, who isn't a Leo, but still my personal favorite singer and member of the band of all time. But the Chariot shows these people that have found these passions, that have led them, have made it far, overcome the obstacles, and have found success. If we want to be fools for our lives, if we want to lead lives that we're passionate about, then the Chariot appearing for the advice says, don't be afraid to get behind the wheel. Don't be afraid to stand for what we believe in, to overcome the obstacles that stand in our way, to put ourselves out there and drive our chariots forward. When it comes to when I first started doing tarot readings, when I started doing the face-to-face ones, I was terrified. Again, I didn't have all the answers. When I started, I was relying on a book until that book, because it was on Kindle, until it stopped letting me look at it because I used it too often. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that, but I totally did. So that little handicap, little training wheels just fell away from me because I wasn't allowed to use it anymore. But that didn't stop me. That was an obstacle that I faced, but I kept putting myself out there. I kept trying. And the more I did, the more my intuition grew, the better I got at it. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're a fool for, trust it. And don't be afraid to get behind the wheel and overcome the obstacles that stand in your way of it. Go for your dreams. Drive yourself where you want to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get behind the wheel of a car and drive, but if you want to go places, if you want to go do festivals and stuff, what you're passionate about, if you want to start a concert, stand on a stage, you likely do have to drive something to get there. But the whole point of the Chariot is not being afraid to go after something, not being afraid to take that chance to get behind the wheel and drive yourself forward, just like the Maitlands are doing there, which led them to that situation there. Life is short. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But when we have that confidence, when we're not afraid to try, that's when possibilities, opportunities really open for us. The Chariot is astrologically connected to Cancer, the cardinal water sign of the zodiac, and one of the very most intuitive signs of the zodiac as well. But Cancers are very known for putting all of their energy, all of their love, and all of their appreciation onto other people. They are very much, they're the mother of the zodiac. So that energy there shows that kindness and compassion they have for everybody else, which perhaps, we have that kindness and compassion as well. We're not focusing on our passions because we want to help others lead their passions, but you deserve to be happy too. You deserve to find that passion, to drive that passion forward, to really have that confidence to overcome the obstacles and find success with what lights your inner fire. So the Chariot following the Fool and the King of Wands in the advice position gives me the idea that we've been inspired enough. We know what our passion is. We know what we want to lead at. We just have to be fools for it, take that chance, spin the wheel, begin that chapter, leap off into the unknown, and overcome the obstacles, because success and wealth will be waiting for us when we're willing to do so. Bottom of the deck, and then I'll send you on your way, is the Nine of Cups. Again, what a positive reading. Empowering, insightful, taking control, driving ourselves forward, being a fool for life. There is the Nine of Cups, the wish card of the tarot, all of those experiences of the past, all of the wisdom and knowledge we have under our belts, whether we won or lost of our passions before, all of that is with us now. So we can take all of that knowledge and be a fool for life. The 9 contains the energy of all the numbers that have come before. So all those obstacles we faced in the past, all the times we've begun, all the choices that we've made, all the creations that we've created, all the strong foundations we've had in our lives, all the times we've changed our lives, all the times we let our hearts lead, all the obstacles we've overcome, and all the success or even the unsuccess that we found. Unsuccess? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. And now that is contained in that energy of the 9, which gives us the power to be a fool for our fool in our lives. Gives us the power to get behind the wheel. It gives us the power to follow our hearts and our passions and let them lead us to where we want to be. 9 of Cups is astrologically connected to Pisces, the second decan to be exact. So just like Cancer, there's extreme emotions here. But those emotions can make or break us. Don't let those emotions break you. Let those emotions help you strengthen your intuition so you can trust yourself to move forward. You and only you, my friend, have the power to make all of your wishes come true. Learn from those experiences of the past. Let that passion lead you. Focus on what you're a fool for, and don't be afraid to take the chance to get behind the wheel and drive yourself to making those wishes a reality. Take Tim Burton, for example. People didn't believe in him necessarily. I'm not 100% on this, so don't quote me on it. But Disney wasn't completely on board with his ideas or anything because they were just weird. But the weirder your idea, the more different it is, the more you can take it because no one's done it before. Did anybody really do what Tim Burton did before he started doing it? Was there anything out there like Beetlejuice before he created Beetlejuice? The book that I showed you in the beginning, how weird and freaky is it? But he did it because he was passionate about it. Whatever your passion is, whatever your inner fire wants to lead you to, you have the power to make that wish a reality when you're not afraid to get behind the wheel of your chariot and be a fool for life. That is the message from the Beetlejuice Tarot deck and guidebook by Insight Editions. If you want a reading with this deck or any of the decks in my collection, then please feel free to comment on this video. Book one directly from my website or message me on either of the socials, and I will be happy to do that for you. As always, I really want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to go after your passions and let them lead, because life is short. And the more we focus on what we love, the more success you're going to find with it. Be fun with it because we're not going to get bored and uninterested in it. So again, as always, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again in the next one.